Hey guys, so I noticed that only a small percentage of the people who watch my videos are actually subscribed. So if you like my content, please consider subscribing and turning on notifications to make sure that my content gets to you on time. Hey guys, so today I want to cover some fundamentals of playing flex. And the reason why I chose these three rules for playing flex is because I see a lot of people not following them. So like I see a lot of GM and below players not following them. And if you're like GM below, you should probably follow these rules. It's not until like high challenger that you can break some of these rules. And then B, I see a lot of people asking me about these type of questions on my stream. So I want to make a video on clarifying some of these like fundamentals on how to think about playing flexibly. So most of these are not comps related, but these are like essentially like fundamental related. So the first one is always slam an item on 2-1. Obviously, there's going to be a few exceptions, but basically, if you have 3 item components on 2-1, you should always slam an item. The first off is because it gives you like often it gives you at least 5 rounds of item value. If you don't slam an item on 2-1, usually you'll make your first item on 2-3. But if you slam an item on 2-1, usually you make an item on 2-1 and 2-3. So here the item on 2-1 gives you value from 2-1 all the way till 3-1. Second off, slamming an item often commits you to a direction right away, which is a good thing when you're playing flex. Because the hardest thing about playing flex is that initially you can play every comp of the game, but if you try to play every comp of the game, you'll fail because you won't have enough bench space, you won't have enough, it's just very difficult to play every comp of the game. So by slamming an item, now essentially you cut the number of comps you can play often by like half, and that is a good thing, so then you don't have to hold all the units. It also can force you to build items you don't usually build, which is a good thing too. A lot of times these items that you don't usually build are really strong, but people don't really know about it. So like here are some examples I give you is that like let's just say you have belt, chain, and cloak. You can build Sunfire or Zephyr. Both of them are really strong at 2-1. So Sunfire obviously a really strong early game item, and then Zephyr is really strong because you can always early game Zephyr is really strong because it turns the fight from a 3v3 into a 3v2. And then later, you can always Zephyr the Socialite. So then you have bow, belt, sword. You can build Z0 or Zeeks. Here, Zeeks kind of makes sense because if you use up the belt and the sword, you have Zeeks, so you're going AD. And then you have the bow, so now you're committed to AD, right? You have a bow for AD carry, you have Zeeks for your backline. But I think Z0 is probably the more correct play, as Z0 is a stronger early game item, and Z0 is extremely undervalued. And it's a really powerful item. I think players like Goobums build it almost very consistently. Okay, so rule number 2 is to never sell 2-star units. So this one was inspired recently because one of my friends showed me a comp that he was playing, and he ended up with Leona 1 and Braum 1, and apparently he sells Zac 2 and Sejuani 2 in order to play it. I mean, the thing is that basically never ever sell your 2-star units. If you watch Ramblin at all, you'll see that he literally never sells his 2-star units. Sometimes I think about his spot and I'm like, oh, is Jin 1 better than Caitlyn 2? But like so he'll have like a Caitlyn 2 with IE Last Whisper, and he'll have a Jin 1 on a bench or on the board, and he won't sell the Caitlyn 2 in order to play a Jin 1 or in order to move items onto Gen 1. And it's because 2-star units are just fundamentally better than 1-star units for so many different reasons, including but the biggest one is probably the HP difference. They don't really get gimped as easily. So, especially for frontliners, this is especially true. So, Sejuani 2, Leona 2 is miles better than Braum 1, Leona 1. When you have Leona 2, it's a little trickier, especially if you have frontline items. Leona 2 can often go infinite. But try not to worry about this case, just play Sage 2 allow you to anyways, because like if you follow this rule up until like high challenger, it'll just give you better results. So 2-star carries are often better than 1-star carries as well. So like a 2-star brand is better than a 1-star Ari as an example. For 80 carries the same as well. Like a 2-star Twitch is often better than a 1-star like Draven. Once you hit your 2-star that you're actually going for, like a 2-star Draven or a 2-star Ari, then you can replace your previous carry. And the reason why you want to play like this is because A, it keeps your HP higher, and then B, it's less reliant on hitting a 2-star carry. So a lot of times you actually bottom board a lot because you are trying to go for a 2-star carry, but you don't hit it. And then C, it forces you to play around your current board. What that means is that like by playing around the board you have right now, it encourages you to play more flexibly than you would have otherwise. So now, obviously, you have to take this as a grain of salt because there's a lot of 1-star units that are significantly stronger than a 2-star like cheaper unit. Often units like CC units like Braum is a big one, and then like incredibly powerful units like Victor or like Silco, who are just as powerful as 1-star as they are at 2-star. So there's some grain of salt you have to take with this, but basically, for the most part, this is you should treat this as a rule. And then finally, the last tip I want to give you for playing flex is to roll often, roll a 7, roll a 8, and roll even pairs. And the reason why I give you this rule is because when I watch other people play, I see that players are really reluctant to roll. So sometimes that is extremely correct to roll, but they'll still fast 8 and roll at 8. Like, people don't really evaluate their current board and whether they can roll or not. But in reality, you should constantly be re-evaluating whether you should roll at every single turn and then make a decision to roll at every single turn if it's correct. So right now, like I said, everyone just fast 8 and rolls at 8, which I think is very, very incorrect. So let me give you guys some spots on how to evaluate whether you need to roll or not. You have 4+ pairs, always roll. 4 pairs, always roll. If you have 3+ pairs, often roll. So like if you have 3+ pairs, roll the vast majority of the time. 4 pairs, always roll. If you're level 7 and you have 3 or more unupgraded units, you should always roll. This is not including forecasts. So let's just say you're running your board is all upgraded besides your forecast, then you don't have to roll. But if you're level 7 and you have 3 or more unupgraded 1 cost, 2 cost, or 3 cost, then you should always roll. If you're level 8, the chances are you should probably roll and you should not go 9. It's really, really rare that you should go 9 before 6-1. And a lot of people who try to go fast 9 try to fast 9 at 5-3. 5-3 or 5-2, I think. And I don't recommend this. I think it teaches you very bad habits. I think you should just generally never go fast 9, and you should only go 9 when you're stable at 8. So those are my 3 tips for playing flex. I hope this helps.